Some late breaking news last night. Joe Tipton broke this. Shout out to Tipton Edits. But North Carolina has landed another transfer hours before August 1st. 6'11" High Point transfer Ivan Matlekovic has committed to North Carolina. Ivan Matlekovic's agents are the one who informed Joe Tipton of this, and apparently this is being reported as a front court depth ad for North Carolina. If you are like me and you are wondering who is Ivan Matlekovic, well, last season at High Point, he was a freshman, 6'11", 245 pounds, averaged 2 points and 2 rebounds a game. Ivan Matlekovic has apparently been in the transfer portal this entire time, did not find a destination. Did the 6'11" freshman that averaged 2 and 2 last year. And when you can't find a destination and you're that non productive, Hubert Davis's open arms are a good place to stumble into in August, Dion. What's your reaction to this news for North Carolina?
My first reaction is I'm upset Izzo didn't get involved. I feel like he could have been the Sizzy Moan Zapala replacement. But yeah, so my first reaction was, who is Ivan Matlekovic? So I Googled him. Um, 2.6 points per game, 1.8 rebounds in 6 minutes for High Point. He was already a depth piece, and it was at a school that I cannot tell you where it's located, what conference they're in, or who they play. And Hubert Davis said, "That's mine." Um, I don't know what to do with North Carolina at this point, G. Like, I feel like I come on the videos, I speak truthfully about North Carolina. I do poke fun at North Carolina fans. But I feel like I don't know what to do with North Carolina at this point. This is not like the greatest team in the world again. And I think they're extremely reliant on Caleb Wilson. And there's just not a ton around him. I like Seth Trimble, of course, but this is kind of like a fraction of the problem with North Carolina, but it's so seismic at the same time because it speaks volumes on what's been going on since Hubert got there.
Yeah, a lot of thoughts on this. First of all, I guess let's do the player stuff first, and then I can do thoughts on the state of North Carolina in general. That's the more important part of this, is just what the hell is North Carolina doing? But on the player first, let's not. I'll speak for myself. You can do whatever you want. Despite the fact that I have a lot of, I don't know, jokes to make at this, I'm going to try not to be overly mean to the player himself because, look, the reality is this. He didn't play in 30 games and averaged 2 and 2, right? He played in 5 games. He played a total of 31 minutes, and in 31 minutes, he scored 13 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 blocks at High Point. Now, a couple things that we need to contextualize here a little bit. High Point was good last year. High Point won their conference. High Point made the NCAA tournament. So to be a 7 foot freshman from Croatia and basically not crack the rotation at High Point, it's not the end of the world. Like, I would assume there are good players that would not crack the rotation on teams that will win their conference at the mid-major level. So I don't think last season where he averaged 2 and 2 is like a death spell on him as a potential college basketball contributor anywhere. If he were still at High Point, I think honestly, mid-major writers would probably be circling him and being like, this could be a potential breakout player. Also, if we want to be like as positive as we can possibly be, pump sunshine out of our asses here, Dion. 13, 9, and 4 in 31 minutes is an awesome 31 minutes. So I don't know. Maybe this kid just needs a bigger role. And as a 7 footer, he hasn't had a chance to show what he can do yet at all. This is a little bit of an international pipeline right now, I guess I would say. It feels like every program in the country is going international, but this is a Croatian big man. You've already got Vesar, who is originally an international kid. You've got Bogovac, who's supposed to come to the front court soon for UNC. So I don't know. Hubert Davis is playing the international game a little bit. I don't know what this kid will be. I don't want to make judgments off of basically a year where he was not given a role on a very good High Point team on what he could potentially be down the line. That's the end of me being fair about this kid. Do you have anything to add on the player himself before we go to the North Carolina side of this?
Um, Size wise, he's exactly what you want. He's tall and he's built extremely well.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Sturdy looking gentleman, you could say.
Gro- Grown man body. Grown
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. He has a good face also. Like he has the face of a contributor one day. All right, we're trying here, folks. Let's get to the real part of this for me. Let's just call this what it is. This is one of those ads that carries with it such a negative PR connotation. It would almost be better if you just didn't make it. And I understand it. Look, if you believe the North Carolina reporters and accounts that are saying this is just a depth piece, this is just a practice player, then obviously it doesn't hurt. If your 14th and 15th guys are practice players from international programs that maybe have some high ceiling down the line, I've talked about that at Michigan State and Michigan and elsewhere. Those are the types of guys you want to round out a roster with. So scrap the high point season from this guy. If we just considered him, oh, UNC took a flyer on a Croatian center, I don't think any of us would even blink twice. We're like, okay, whatever. But here's the point. Hubert Davis has made such laughable moves at times in the last few seasons. This North Carolina program has lost players that have gone on record and said they didn't get opportunities they deserve. Hubert Davis and his coaching staff have repeatedly replenished this front court with role player types at best. Last season's front court was the worst at the high major level, and we knew it coming into the season. We joked about it. Now, I believe that Vasar and Stevenson should be upgrades, but you don't need any more non factors. And the more non factors Hubert Davis decides to give a scholarship to just the easier these punchlines become. I want to remind people North Carolina is one of the only programs in the country right now that has a dedicated basketball GM. And in fact, I want to Google this as I say this because there's a whole salary associated to this, right?
Yeah.
Jim Tanner is North Carolina's basketball GM. I believe he has a salary that
Mhm.
is around $1 million a year.
Yeah. $900,000 base. He gets $100,000 bonus if he gets a 4 or 5 star recruit.
So Jim Tanner is making $1 million a year in a GM role that most programs don't even pay for a filled position for. And he's rounding out the roster with a guy that averaged 2 and 2 at High Point. That is incompetence at its purest. You know what would be better for North Carolina basketball? If they took the $900,000 Jim Tanner's making and gave it to a star front court player.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here, people? It just reminds me truly, it reminds me of the incompetence at all levels institutionally of the Juwan Howard Michigan era. And it becomes one of those things after a while. How many new situations can you make jokes about? Like, okay, they're bringing in another practice player when this team still needs impact players while paying a guy $900,000 to sit in an office and scout these guys. It's crazy to me. It would infuriate me if I'm a North Carolina fan.
It's crazy. And Jim Tanner was like kind of, please correct me if I'm wrong on this one, G, but like, wasn't Jim Tanner like kind of handpicked by Hubert too, right? Like they have like he was Hubert's agent back in the day or something like that.
I don't know the history there. I don't want to incorrectly speak on it, but
Yeah. I know there's some connection between him and Hubert. I know Hubert was like really excited to have Jim Tanner in the role and stuff like that. And I know it played some role in Hubert's extension too. Now, I did see some rumors over the weekend. Part of the reason Hubert got his extension until 2030 is the SEC stuff. And they're going to ride it out with Hubert, switch conferences, and then so on and so forth. Who knows, right? Like, I do believe, I think you and I did the video on Monday about North Carolina joining the SEC. And I do believe North Carolina has an extreme focus on football at the moment. And I don't think basketball will ever take a back seat at the University of North Carolina because that's kind of like, in my honest opinion, North Carolina is basketball heaven, right? Like that arena, Michael Jordan, Vince Carter. I'm even going to throw Rashad McCants, Raymond Felton, Sean May, Tyler Hansbrough, so on and so forth in the powder blue, Carolina blue. It's special. It's basketball heaven. It'll never take a back seat. But I do think Belichick has the focus of the institution because their goal at the moment is how do we get to the SEC that is football based right now. And I think you're kind of seeing that with all of this. And it's just like, it's a lack of caring at the moment about what's going on, right? And even down to Caleb Wilson's their biggest recruit in however long, that TNT announcement was crazy. That was crazy, right? Like it's just the little things that's going on with North Carolina is so nuts to me. And I do have one joke I want to get off. Instead of Jim Tanner, Jordan Hudson would never let this happen.
Okay. All right. I mean, you're right. That's the sad thing. Look, in the end, do I think this matters for North Carolina's basketball team this year? No. But I would argue that's the issue. Why are you adding players in August that don't move the needle at all? Like, it would drive me crazy. It reminds me so much of Juwan Howard's every little move. And I think we all know where this is headed, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe he surprises us. In the meantime, general rule of thumb, don't add any more scholarship players in August. If someone's still in the transfer portal in August, maybe leave them there for future reference. Congrats to North Carolina on yet another front court ad.